If you just got on for the first time, that's kind of Tiffany and my thing. She said, "Are you ready?" And so Freddie's always ready. So anyway, hey, how in the world is everyone? Now you need to speak up. You need to just unmute yourself and just give a highlight of your Thanksgiving week. Give something real positive, energetic. Uh, go, go. Anybody, go. Unmute yourself. Give one positive thing about your Thanksgiving week. What do you think? Go ahead.
Mine was good.
Hey. All right. Hey.
Okay. Getting ready for work, but yeah, we had a Friendsgiving. It was nice.
Good. Okay. Fantastic. Where do you live, Andrea?
Florida.
Oh, in what area?
Daytona Beach.
Daytona Beach. All right. Cool. Anybody else? Next. What was your Thanksgiving week like? What were you thankful for your Thanksgiving week? Give some good news.
Good morning.
Hey, Looney, how are you?
Sorry, I can't turn the camera on right now, but yeah, I had an amazing Thanksgiving. A lot of family from, just out of town came. It was nice to see everyone. We haven't seen each other in a while. And just a lot of cooking, a lot of eating for 4 days. So it was really, really great, really great.
Yeah.
And then I come back to work on Monday, and it was slow. But then yesterday I ended up getting a new client, a buyer. So,
very, very good.
Starting off the week good. So hopefully, I got 2 buyers in my pipeline or, my.
Super,
So, yeah.
super. All right, who's next? I don't know why she hesitates. She knows I'm going to call her out anyway. And you know I'm talking about you. So go ahead and unmute yourself. How was your Thanksgiving week? What were you thankful for? I'm going to call you out. So go ahead. I'll wait. Olivia, go ahead. How was your Thanksgiving week? What were you thankful for? Your Thanksgiving week. I think you were in New York, weren't you?
Good morning. Thank you. Good to hear from you, Fred. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving as well.
Oh, fantastic.
It was chilly, but yeah, I'm just thankful for like everyone, we have in our lives, all the love that we give to each other, and just coming together. It's we have so much to be thankful for with just so many we have so much, and more than others, so just thankful for that and the critters.
You were in New York?
I was in New York, and then we drove up to Maine when I left on Wednesday.
Woo, you were cool. You were cool. All right, cool. Yeah. Anybody else? Judith, how was your Thanksgiving? How was the week?
Hi, guys. My Thanksgiving was great. I wasn't here. I went to Mexico. I stopped by a place called Merida back near Cancun in the peninsula. So that was cool. Because my son, who's 26, called me up like in August saying, "Mom, I'm not going." He works in California. I live here in Lake Worth now in Florida. So he works in California. He said, "Mom, I'm not going for Thanksgiving because I'm going somewhere, with my friends." And that hurt a little bit at the beginning, but then I understood that, he's a grown man now and he takes his own decisions, right? So I said, you know what? Fine. If you go your way, we can go our way as well. So we chose to go to Merida, which was a great trip. We went to see a few cenotes, which are like underground rivers down in the area.
Oh, fantastic!
Places full of magic and mysticism, and it was fantastic. I mean, I wouldn't have done it otherwise. And the weather was beautiful, and so we had a great time.
Fantastic. Now let me ask you a question.
Yes, go ahead.
You said you were irritated at first, or not, a little upset, but then you got over it and you understood he's a grown man.
Right.
But now hindsight, looking back, in one way, you're probably thinking, man, I didn't have to cook. I didn't have to do this. We have this beautiful trip. And you actually are glad he did it now, right?
Yes, I'm glad I did it. Yeah, I am. I mean, I understand he has his own life to live. He's coming to Florida this weekend, because he still works from home. So he can work from anywhere he wants. So he's going to spend like a month here for the holidays. So I said, it's fine. It works out. And it was a different Thanksgiving, but it was, I mean, nobody cares about Thanksgiving over there. It's like in Mexico. I was in Mexico, and then I stopped by Mexico City to see my mother, my family. So it worked out in the end.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Anybody else? Go ahead. Give us something real good news. Something positive. Thanksgiving week. I'm gonna speak up. What a week for us. My first granddaughter, she was 27. She got married in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. And then we stayed on the Saturday before Thanksgiving, and we stayed the entire week of Thanksgiving. I have a daughter that lives in Knoxville, and I have now 4 grandchildren with the other one living there, my oldest granddaughter, but 4 grandchildren there, and 1 great granddaughter. So we had a blast. It was good, really good. But anyway, hey, I'm so glad you are here today. Is anyone on for the first time? Anybody here for the first time? Anybody? Okay. Oh, okay. You are Renee. Cool. How did Renee? Are you in the real estate business?
Yes, I saw it on Workplace.
Oh, good. Oh, fantastic. I'm glad you're here. And I meant what I said on some of the posts. If you got here through that post on Workplace or Facebook or somewhere else, that this is going to be a December you remember. If you really are able to pause your phone and able really to focus on where I'm going to try and take you today. And it's where I've been this past 3 months, and where it is that I'm continuing to move toward. We talk all the time about the mastermind is not about showing up because there's a master here. I'm not the master. Collectively, we are the master. I get more out of this than I'm ever able to give. The mastermind principle from Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, is so misunderstood, so unappreciated, so unexamined, so underutilized. We forget that everybody is a mastermind for us. Judith, you said your son, turned you down for Thanksgiving at first. It kind of irritated, but that beautiful mind of his. And then once he did that, and then you said, okay, I accept that. And then look how it turned out, right? So all the minds coming together is a mastermind, and the mastermind community is set to really lift us all higher, not emotionally, not motivationally, but to get us to aspire, to get us to have aspirations that we can hit. So this December to remember, it's incredible, incredible, incredible what is going on in my mind from you all. Last week I shared, I've been doing this now 3.5, 4 years with you all. And what I've learned, what I've taken away, what it's got me to think through. So let me go ahead and start sharing, but try not to multitask today if you can, at least while I'm going through this, because I'm going to show you some things and try to give you the path that you want to look at for this December. A lot of times Decembers, especially for Americans, for those that celebrate the holidays and stuff, it's kind of a winding down month. It's kind of, okay, well, everybody else is not doing this and doing that. And again, it's all mindset, right? Mindset, will set, and skill set. When I used to be an executive VP with Coldwell Banker, when it was owned by Sears many years ago, and we used to have a big promotion. And the big promotion was December is Coldwell Banker month. And our numbers compared to any other competitor in our marketplace, our numbers compared to before we launched that mindset thing off. And then we had 12 reasons why you should list your home in December. 12 days of Christmas, 12 reasons why you should list your home in December, 12 reasons why you should buy a home in December, 12 reasons, right? And so it's all mindset, right? So, but I'm going to go bigger than that just from the business aspect. Back then, many years ago, December is Coldwell Banker month, and business-wise, it helped. But what I'm going to try and get you to do today is something that's happening in my life right now that's revolutionary. And the things that keep coming along that are just, and some old stuff. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And I'm going to go to the Mind Body Mastermind. that hopefully you're a member of. If you're not, you want to make sure you become a member. For those of you who are on and familiar, I don't want to keep repeating myself, but I turned this group, the 570 members, private 2 weeks ago because I want people to start speaking up more and not being shy and talking about whatever it is they want to talk about. So it's really confidential, right? So I am so committed in my life to helping people be healthier, happier, wiser, and wealthier. Some of you know my story, some of you don't, and it really doesn't matter. Where I want to get to is the fact that I want December to be distinguished for you. This distinguished, if you, I don't want to bounce too much, and I'm going to come back to something, but the distinguished concept. I grew up, in not quite inner city, but just as bad as inner city. And let me go over here to my site. I'll show you the distinguished group is. I want to give you that there because I want you to focus on that word distinguished for December. I want your December to be so distinguished from any other in your entire life. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Okay. So this idea of the distinguished group, December to remember a distinguished December. And the way, and study the word distinguished when you can. It's an interesting word. I came up with this. As I said, I was born the last of 6 children. Our family was very, like a lot of families, had our issues, but ours was even beyond that. A brother had died in prison after serving 28 years. He was sentenced to life. Another brother had committed suicide at 48 because of drugs and alcohol. All kind of abuse, all kind of craziness in our family and different things. But my mother, I was the last of 6, and even though she was really stressed out, and of course we were on the lower end of the economic scale for sure. My father was a laborer. When I was about 2.5 years old, some of you have seen the baby picture. 2.5 years, she entered me into a contest. She dressed me up in this tux-looking thing, and I was just a cute kid. I mean, I was cute. I had hair even. But anyway, I never realized. I always used to see the picture. I always liked it. But one day, after she passed away and stuff, I was going through the stuff, and I had the original. And on the back of it, it said 1955 award, the most distinguished. So I've always kept that. And some of you know my story. It wasn't until I was about 62 that I went in to start doing inner child work and that kind of thing, and really radically changed my life. And understanding that, where you go back and you understand that we all are nothing more than the first 7 years of our life repeated over and over and over and over again, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, the distinguished name came from that photograph. And so I'm calling my group the distinguished group now. I'm in EXP. If some of you are with another broker, I'm with EXP Realty, and it's EXP Realty, the distinguished group. But I did this little logo, and if anyone's interested after today that you want to be, your own name, the EXP Realty Distinguished Group, feel free. I'll send you the logo, EXP Realty Distinguished Group. But I want you to be a member of my Distinguished December group, the Distinguished. I want you to be distinguished. I want you to be a member of this Mind Body Mastermind. Annabelle will put the link in the chat now. But what we had the last 3 months, it started in October, is where I had different monthly challenge. In October, I was really frustrated because I was coming up with my 5 years that I would be spending with EXP. And I was looking at my accomplishments compared to my other accomplishments in my life in the brokerage business. I was looking at my own team that I had let down in many ways. And I thought I was doing a lot of great things. But, I really was frustrated and looking, and then some major changes that took place because I was in business with my nephew, and he had his different ideas in marketing, which were good. And I'm really glad that he's following his path. But anyway, October, I said, I've got to get really quiet here. I got to figure out. So I did this October challenge. If you haven't done this yet, even though it's December, go back and at least get the principle of it, about 10 minutes of quietness a day, because you have got to pay attention to your inner voice. So that was the October challenge. As I started practicing this, I realized how many of my thoughts were 95% of my thoughts were illusions, right? 95% of my analysis is illusions. 95% of my opinions, illusions. 95% of my impressions with myself, illusions. 95% impressions with other people, illusions. So I really started saying, where are you taking me, God? If you're more comfortable saying universe, whatever it is, but I said, God, where are you taking me? For the benefit of others. And so this really served me well. So I was thinking about it and I said, but that's not enough. Toward the end of October, I said, there's got to be more. And what happens? I stumble across Miyamoto. And it just happened to hit my inbox as I was meditating and thinking about, why October wasn't quite enough for me. And I said, I keep telling people, and I've been doing this now for 5 years with you all, calling it Soulful Wednesday and all that kind of stuff. I said, what are these? And watching my team members struggle and a number of my coaching clients who still are struggling. And I'm going, damn it, I'm tired of this. And then Miyamoto shows up in my life. Miyamoto is a famous swordsman, world renowned from the 1500s. But what he's known for, and I'm gonna show you the summary of that in a minute. If you have not gone through this exercise somewhat, I helped to cheat a little bit. I put some of the highlights here, and then this is all about self-discipline. So I really spent my November in really trying to figure out why everyone has some issue with self-discipline, why Frank McKinney, an author of 8, 9 bestseller books, built 40-some multi-million-dollar mansions over his 30-year career, average price $15 million. He said he keeps writing because he's trying to figure out why people can't stay consistently motivated, right? And he's as disciplined as they get, right? So he's still not happy. So I said, how do we keep slaying these giants, right? So November was phenomenal. So the reason I'm bringing these up here is because I want you to commit your December to being a soulful, SOULFULL, and a soulful, SOULFUL, which means more quiet and more empathetic and more kind of reflecting and that type of thing. So I want you to come back though and look at these two things, and then I want you to look at November. But let me go down here. I'm gonna not bounce all over the place here a little bit. Last week we talked about Maslow's theory. You've got to live where you really are on these. You can't go from your survival level, if that's where you are, your security level, and jump up being self-actualized and being successful tomorrow. So we talked about that last week. So as I was going through these and looking at the discipline thing, and also then I came across, then I thought about, that discipline that people still are not doing, including myself. It was a bad month for me. The more I tried to be disciplined, it was kind of my ego was working against me, saying, oh, you think you're disciplined, are you? I'll show you, right? So I said, man, what is it? How much time do we really have to figure this stuff out? So anyway, coming up here to December, and and this quote came across just as I was in a thoughtful mood about December. Sometimes what you're most afraid of doing is the very thing that will set you free. And that is me doing these masterminds for me and that type of thing. Then, of course, this one popped in. Of course, I follow Bruce Lipton. I'm very familiar with his work. I'm going to play this here quickly. You may have seen it already, but it's a good one.
Anything you're struggling to try to accomplish, whether it's health or love, relationships, whatever it is, if you're struggling, it represents a simple fact. Your subconscious programming doesn't support that conclusion. The struggle is not because the universe won't provide for you. The struggle is an internal job. The struggle is you're trying to overcome previous programming that prevents you to go to that destination. The universe is not holding back. It's your own invisible subconscious behavior. Anything you're struggling to try to accomplish, whether it's health or love, relationships, whatever.
So, that was another reminder, and this was for a coaching client of mine, that are just so struggling and have worked so hard in their life and their marriage and 11 years still, just this, a lot of the issues over and over and over again. And then some self-forgiveness for myself I was struggling with, and some mistakes I made financially and business decisions I made over the last 5 years. And I said, man, what is going on? So anyway, I said this December, I wanted to be so soulful for my group. I wanted to be so distinguished. I wanted to be the month you decide you're going to have a brand new life in 2024. You're going to walk through a brand new door in 2024. So I was really seeking this, right? So first I went to Frank McKinney stuff. And, one of the things I'm encouraging people to do is for the holidays, shopping. Frank McKinney, every one of his books, when you buy one of his books, it feeds 200 meals in Haiti. I don't know how that writing got there. Someone must have their script on movement. So, I'm encouraging you to constantly for December become and get into a soulful mood, not just a cheerful mood, joyful mood because of the holidays and holiday music or whatever you celebrate, whether you're Christian, Jewish, Muslim, whatever it is that you do in December. But really get serious about being quiet for the October challenge. The November challenge, I want you to pick up your personal sword, and I want you to think, every time you have a negative thought, every time you want to beat yourself up, every time you want to make a doubt, I want you to picture yourself as a Miyamoto and slay that damn giant. And I want you to go on that right side of the chart that I'm going to go back to in just a second. But I'm going to encourage you to look at Frank McKinney's books, buy these for gifts. They're easy right off of Amazon. You could ship them to your loved ones or ship them to yourself and wrap them. His book, The Tap, T-A-P, Tap, it's the same as what Matt McConaughey calls green lights that I'm going to be talking about here. So this October challenge, this November challenge, and now what we're going to in December, and how this came to be, again, because I was asking and I was seeking. This book here, folks, radically changed my life as a young man. But like everything else, it was just a book I had read. It was the principles I had implemented. But I forgot how that radically got me to move so fast and so furious from a 26-year-old sales manager to 29, become an executive vice president of Coldwell Banker, moving to the very top of the ladder corporately, and then starting a coaching company, consulting company, taking over other companies, and then my entrepreneurial pursuits and building a $35 million real estate portfolio, blah, blah, blah. So I and then losing a lot of it because of people not wanting coming in to join the party. Long story there, but these principles that are in this book. So where this came from is that, and I'm going to come back there in a second. I'm going to play this summary for you because I want to convince you. I want to beg you. I want to plead for you and your family to make December a soulful month. And I would love you to take the 5-6 hours and listen, buy Matt McConaughey's book. On the ride up to Tennessee and back, I went through it. And during this time, here, let me play these principles.
All over the earth, God is raising up a new breed of wealth builders who will use their money to shape the course of world history without building a golden calf. You see, true prosperity is not about
time and truth, two constraints that you can rely on. One shows up for the first time, every time, while the other never leaves. Matthew McConaughey. One of the last books that we read in 2020, and our favorite autobiography of the year, McConaughey tells his story in a candid way in which he invites us to explore the lessons of his life and what they taught him. These lessons come from 35 years of journaling and a lifetime worth of experiences, poems, prayers, beliefs, photographs, and a whole bunch of bumper stickers, as he describes it. He makes the point that we all know what green lights mean. It means go. Yellow and red lights, on the other hand, are signs to slow down and even to stop. As he describes his book in the introduction, he says, it's also a guide to catching more green lights, and to realizing that the yellows and reds eventually turn green too. McConaughey breaks down the lessons of the book into 8 parts. The first is called Outlaw Magic. Matthew grew up with parents who demanded respect. They had their own code of conduct and expected Matthew and his brothers to follow it. His parents expected him to be honorable, responsible, hardworking, and maybe more than anything, to own their decisions, especially their mistakes. His first green light came while building a treehouse during a summer living with his dad. For 2 months straight, he worked on the treehouse from sunup to sundown, using supplies he had acquired at a local lumber yard. Sitting in his
I'm probably shouldn't give this away. The materials he acquired, he stole them. He stole them from a lumber yard, and I'm going to make a point about that.
Finished treehouse, over 100 feet in the air, McConaughey tasted well-earned sense of accomplishment for the first time, and he learned the value of hard work. He describes it as the best summer of his life. The second part, find your frequency. In high school, he was known for his fun demeanor and lifestyle. He had a blue rundown pickup truck with a megaphone in it. Before school, he would use the megaphone to talk to girls, joking around with them, and after school, he would take them mudding. He wasn't the cool guy, he was the fun guy. On a whim one day, he traded in the truck for a cherry red sports car. Instead of talking on the megaphone in the parking lot, he was busy leaning against his car. He expected more attention from the ladies. The opposite happened. When he traded in his truck, he lost the effort, hustle, and fun that had made him popular in the first place. He got lazy. He tried to be the cool guy, expected the car to do all the work. After getting his truck back, he was back. He wasn't the cool guy. He was the fun guy. He had to find his frequency. The next part of the book, Dirt Roads and Autobahns. This section of the book talks through his early days in law school, finding the book The Greatest Salesman in the World, and how both led him to the set of Dazed and Confused, where he first uttered the 3 words that have followed him throughout his career. All right, all right, all right. Then, maybe our favorite lesson in the entire book, words that McConaughey carved into a tree. Less impressed, more involved. You see, once we are less impressed with our lives, then we can become more involved in them. Spend time working on ourselves instead of admiring ourselves. Live in the moment and appreciate them for what they are. Part 4. The Art of Running Downhill. Throughout some of the most successful periods of his career, McConaughey has scheduled or sought road trips alone to keep himself grounded. When you are running downhill, it is easy to get tripped up, believe the hype, or to lose yourself. These trips helped him ground himself and kept centered as he embraced what it was to be famous. The 5th part is to turn the page. Some people look for an excuse to do. Others look for an excuse not to. While on a safari through Africa, Matthew was challenged to a wrestling match with a village champion. He didn't know the rules, the customs, or the expectations when he accepted the challenge. In his eyes, sometimes it's not about the result, it's all about accepting the challenge. The next day, the man he wrestled, the champion of the village, walked with him 15 miles to the next village as a show of respect for participating, not for winning. The 6th part. The arrow doesn't seek the target draws the arrow. This section is all about being aware of what we attract in life. The things that we are naturally drawn to are not an accident or coincidence, and the same goes for the things that we draw to us. In 2005, he eliminated work on his production company and his music label so that he could focus on 3 things: family, foundation, and acting. Instead of getting a B in all 5, he would focus and get an A on each of the remaining 3. Be brave, take the hill is part 7. Guess what? You will face struggles and crisis in your life. It's inevitable. When faced with one, there is a 4-part plan to handle it. Recognize the problem, stabilize the situation, organize the response, and respond. The worst thing that you can do is to turn and run. Be brave, take the hill. McConaughey relates how he spent almost 2 years turning down scripts that no longer resonated with him. He turned down multi-million-dollar offers because they no longer were the roles he wanted to play. He only wanted to do roles that resonated with him, and those weren't the ones that were being offered. By being brave, by not bending to what Hollywood wanted, he faced the very real possibility that his acting career was over and that he'd have to move on. Luckily for him, he did start getting scripts for projects that excited him and that he wanted to play. The lesson is the same though. Take the hill. Don't bend at what others want. And finally, part 8. Live your legacy now. I noticed that the realizations arrived quickly, the learning took time, and the living was the hardest part. I found myself right where I left me. The overwhelming theme of this book was to make mistakes, recalibrate, adjust, make more mistakes, get closer to yourself, recalibrate, and repeat. And most importantly, it was to live. Whether you are a 50-year-old looking back, like McConaughey, or a ripe 20-year-old, pick the important things in your life and pursue them. Live according to your North Star, and get familiar with the one person that you can't get rid of, yourself. Remember, time and truth, two constraints you can rely on. One shows up for the first time, every time, while the other never leaves. Autobiographies can be stuffy and boring. Not this one. It was well written and highly entertaining. The life lessons that you get along the way just tend to be a bonus. We highly recommend you pick this book up in print rather than on the Kindle or Audible, because there are so many quotes, illustrations, and journal entries that really stand up in the print copy. Now, do you got a book that you'd like to see us animate? Leave your comments down below, and your suggestions might...
Yeah, I did the Audible because I was driving, and now just ordered the print copy. Folks, I'll have to tell you is that it's amazing that that when he was describing his life, and when he said he found the greatest salesman in the world, and I went, oh my God, that's what I've been missing, the scrolls. I need those scrolls again. I got to go back, and I have immersed myself now in the greatest salesman in the world again, and now part 1 and part 2. And, you know, if any of us on this call, I've shared this with you all before. I used to speak to a lot of religious leaders and a lot of people in religious groups and stuff, and people that had high levels, right, of authority and high levels of positions and stuff within different types of organizations. And I would always start my sessions out there, you know, a seminar where I would be invited or something, and I would start them out with this question. And if you know, you could replace the word God with universe or life or what have you. But I would always start it out with this, and I would hand out these 3x5 cards, and many of you have heard the story. And I asked this very simple question. If God is so good, why am I so blank? And I would hand these index cards out. They were typed up, and they had a pen on their seat, and they had to answer it, and they would pass them in. And folks, I'm talking about leaders that were so prominent, some of them and all, and they didn't put their name on them. I didn't want to know who it was. They were anonymous. And some did. I said, if you want to put your name because you want to talk to me later about it, let me know. Folks, I got things that would make your hair curl, right? Why am I so much of a fake? Why am I cheating on my wife? Why am I doing this? Why am I? Because we were real. We were really real. And so a lot of us, if we were asked to answer that question, if life is so good or if God is so good, why am I so blank? What would you put in that blank? That's your North Star. But you've got to figure out what that North Star is. So I want to sell you, number one, on green lights today. I want you to really digest that and try to get that done as soon as possible. Get the audio version first from Amazon or wherever, Audible. And then if you're led after that, go ahead and get the printed copy because I'm going to read it again and again. And then December, we're going to spend in The Greatest Salesman in the World. The Greatest Salesman in the World, Og Mandino's story on YouTube. Study the man, Og Mandino, a man who was ready to blow his brains out, literally, and he stumbled into a church one day. And where his life, he never understood that the concept of personal development. He never understood the concept of the fact we are not stuck with us. And he started looking at all this. He felt that the greatest salesman in the world was Jesus, okay? How he sold the world. And he realized that the story was not about this eternal thing that Jesus was selling, but trying to sell people on themselves, trying to sell people on the fact there's nothing wrong with them, trying to sell them on the fact of how they've truly been created, trying to sell them on the fact they have a North Star. And when Matt McConaughey got a hold of scroll one, when he started reading it, he couldn't wait to get his hand on scroll one. Where if you haven't, I'm going to play this here just quickly, not all of it. I just want to show you. It's just
The Greatest Salesman
actually, I will. It's 6 minutes.
in the World by Og Mandino is one of the most inspiring and uplifting books ever written. Matthew McConaughey claims he wouldn't be where he is now if Og Mandino's book hadn't found him in his time of need. The actor says this book is his all-time favorite. Don't be misled by the title. You don't have to work in sales to benefit from the book, although it's good to keep in mind that everyone is in sales one way or another. Maybe you don't hold the title of salesperson, but if the business you are in requires you to deal with people, you too are in sales. The author used the same 10 principles described in the book to turn his life around and transform himself from a drunk on the verge of a suicide to one of the most sought-after speakers in the country. At Read and Grow, we believe that books can change your life. Whatever your situation is, someone out there has gone through the same and shared the lessons in a book. Subscribe and join us on our quest to solve problems one book at a time. The story takes place in ancient Jerusalem. A camel boy named Hafid falls in love with the daughter of a very wealthy man and aspires to become a rich merchant in order to be able to marry the woman of his dreams. He goes to his master Pathros and asks to be taught the principles and laws that would transform him into a great salesman. Pathros agrees to take Hafid under his wing and teach him the principles of the 10 scrolls. To become a master in the art of sales and accumulate all the wealth he desires, he must learn and practice the secret of each scroll. Hafid is instructed to read each scroll 3 times a day for 30 days before he proceeds to the next scroll. The idea is that the more he reads the words in the scrolls and thinks about the principles, the more they will seep into his subconscious mind and change his attitude.
Bruce Lipton, right? He said that the universe is not cooperating. It's just that we have not fed our subconscious mind. That's why I'm praying and I'm hoping that every single one on the call gets very soulful for December and purchases books for your loved ones and things that will change them from the inside out. So it's all about the subconscious, and that's what these scrolls do.
Actions until each principle becomes a part of his personality and a habit in living. Scroll number 1 teaches about the power of habits. All grown men are slaves to their habits, and good habits are the key to all success. In order to drive a bad habit out of our life, we must replace it with one which will bring us closer to success. A new and good habit is born through constant repetition, because with time, the act becomes easy and pleasant to perform, and we perform it often. Scroll number 2 instructs us to greet every day with love in our hearts. Love is our weapon to open the hearts of men. Love is also a shield to repulse the arrows of hate and the spears of anger. If we have no other qualities, we can succeed with love alone. Without it, we will fail even if we possess all the knowledge and skills of the world. Scroll number 3 emphasizes the importance of persistence, of taking one step after another until we succeed. Small attempts, when repeated, can complete any undertaking. Each failure along the way increases the chance for success at the next attempt. This is the ancient law of averages. Scroll number 4 reveals that we are nature's greatest miracle. Each of us is unique in his gifts and different in the way he delivers them to the world. We are rare, and there's value in rarity. This is an asset that should be promoted to the fullest. We should place our uniqueness on display in the marketplace and stop attempting to imitate others. Scroll number 5 encourages us to live every day as if it is our last day, to stop obsessing about yesterday's misfortunes and to cease tormenting ourselves with tomorrow's problems that may never come to pass. This day is all we have, and it should not be wasted. The duties of today should be fulfilled today, and the killers of time must be avoided with fury. Scroll number 6 points out that mastering our emotions must be a priority. Like the tides, our moods will rise and fall, turning from sadness to joy, from exultation to depression, from happiness to melancholy. For each day to be productive, despite our changing moods, we need to learn to master our emotions. The way to do it is by forcing our actions to control our thoughts, and not the other way around. When we feel depressed, we should sing. When we feel fear, we should plunge ahead. When we feel poverty, we should think of wealth to come. Scroll number 7 reminds us to laugh at the world and, most of all, at ourselves. We should never take ourselves too seriously, nor should we permit the petty happenings of today to disturb us for too long. There are 4 words that can carry us through every adversity and maintain our life in balance. These 4 words are, "This too shall pass." Scroll number 8 instructs us to multiply our value in the marketplace by setting a high standard by which to live, and then even higher goals for the future. We should always aim high and not be concerned if we stumble often, because that's part of the process. It's best to focus on surpassing our own deeds. The deeds of others are unimportant. Scroll number 9 stresses the importance of taking action. All our dreams, plans, and goals are worthless unless acted upon. It's better to act and fail than not to act and flounder. Now is the time and place to act. All procrastination is born out of fear. To conquer fear, we must always act without hesitation. Scroll number 10 reminds us of the power of faith and prayer. If we pray not for the delivery of the things we want, but for guidance, if we pray to be shown the way to acquire what we seek, our prayer shall always be answered. You can now proceed to listen to the first scroll and begin your journey to becoming the greatest salesman in the world.
Ladies, I apologize for all the masculine, but the years that Og Mandino lived in a lot of salesmen. But let me go here. Again, this is all about the mastermind. Why our books can change people's lives because of the mastermind. You're taking someone else's mind. In here, I have another video I found with the 10 scrolls already on it. You can listen to very, just to get a sense for what you're going to be doing every day and reading. So come and listen to these. The other thing is I want to finish here, so I want time to talk, is that Annabelle, if you'll put this in here, the spiritual side of success again. This is the one I give out to you all the time. By the way, I put my cell number in the chat. Annabelle, repeat my cell number. I want to know if you want the most distinguished December of your life. And if you'll just text me and say, Fred, I want the most distinguished December of my life, and I'm willing to do the work. I will open up my calendar for you. I will help you. I will assist you. All you need to do is text me. I want the most distinguished December of my life. And I'm going to get back with you and I'm going to ask you just a few questions. Are you really, truly committed to this? And will you go ahead and do the work with the greatest salesman in the world and green lights? And let's make it the most distinguished December of your life. One of the things in one of the scrolls, I'm going to get down to here, the spiritual side of success. This is those that, have been on, you understand a lot of this. But one of the things that we keep forgetting, who we are, right? This is the way we were created. This is the way we were programmed the first 7 years of our life. But this is the way we truly are. But we don't understand that all these things to the right of this chart cannot be achieved by moving the needle. This is just the thermostat over here. This is how you control and you get these things. The over to the left, the ego, that's all the stuff we keep getting, conflicts and all this other stuff or whatever, or lack of production or lack of this or happiness, love, whatever it may be that we're lacking. We feel this is the left side is the ego, the right side is the soul. Now, this is, we have to create all this or we allow other people to create it for us. This is already internal and it is our source. And this is our source already, right? This is who we really are. We're full of love, full of cooperation, full of forgiveness, full of being the person. We are progressive. We have the freedom of self. We have permission. We really have peace. We have a gold mine. We have all these things that's in us. But why is it that 95% of people fail? especially in the business of that most of us are in, real estate. Why do they fail in marriages? 50% of the people. Why do we fail so much stuff in life if this is who we were created to be? And it's because of all the things that you're going to learn in The Greatest Salesman in the World and in the 10 Scrolls. If you want to stay over here, I had another one of my clients that been with me 6 months the other day. He says, I'm trying to live over to the right side. Well, you don't live to the right side. You can't try to do this. You are this. This is what you do over here to the left. This is all you have to be. This is all about doing over here. You don't do this. You are a being. You're a human being. You are inclusive. You're all inclusive. You are the I am, not who am I. Over here, we constantly, who am I? Why am I not productive? Why is this happening? Why is it? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Over here, it's all comes. And Matt McConaughey, said that it wasn't for the greatest salesman in the world in the 10 Scrolls, because he took all those principles and put them to work. So, we have all these things in our life. Over here, we put mask on, we play roles, we do everything. Over here, we want to remove the mask. We want to get real. We want to get real. So if you haven't gotten this yet, go ahead and download it. Annabelle put it in there. You have my cell number. Come in here, spend time, participate, talk about yourselves, talk about who you are. You are the great I am. You're part of the great I am. I believe we are co-creators with God. Act like it. Come in here and speak up, right? And if it's not going well, speak up too. That's why I made this private, so we can say, hey, I'm looking for someone to give me some encouragement today. Hey, I'm looking for this. All these things here that I'm putting here are all a result of the, here's another one. If you are going to make a commitment that it's going to be the most distinguished time of your life, the most distinguished December of your life, and you really want to radically change your life forever and ever and ever, and your happiness, your health, and your wisdom and your wealth, as soon as you start becoming more successful, you're going to be more uncomfortable than you are if you're not highly successful now. The more money you start making, the more uncomfortable it gets sometimes. But you've got to understand, this is Miyamoto. I said a 12-minute wrap-up of our November project with Miyamoto. This is powerful. This is powerful. I'm not going to take the 12 minutes to play it now. Please get in here and play this. The path of aloneness. You want to be alone. I put down here, I said, the movie Home Alone, right? I said, where I put it here, I said, where is it? Anyway, it was something about being home alone. So, learn to be a lone wolf. Be different. Get out of the pack. I keep telling you, the average real estate salesperson in America makes $44,000. The average, can you believe that? But yet the average CRS, certified residential specialist, earns $127,000 because they took time and invested it in masterminds. They went and attended courses. They took courses. They committed to their craft. So there's no secret to any of this. It's just doing the work and showing up. Learn to be alone. So spend some time in here. You've got my cell number. If you want the most distinguished December of your life, text me and say, I'm in. I want the most distinguished December of my life. And I do want a new door in 2024, because folks, I'm going to get to where I'm going to find those people that are truly distinguished. And I work with people in EXP Realty, outside EXP Realty. I don't care. I want to meet people. I want an army of distinguished people to hang out with in here. And I want them to come in and be real, be authentic, be transparent, be vulnerable, because that's what we all need. We need each other. And that's what success is all about. And it's all about not learning how to succeed. It's learning how to fail successfully, learning how to successfully artfully manage setbacks and failures. That's what it's all about. It's learning how to get out of your own way, and that you are true to who you really are. You are the thermostat. You have control of your life. This thermometer over here. How many of you need some more money in 2024? You keep working on trying to change the thermometer, and you're banging on the thermometer. Come on, give me some heat. And over here, you haven't stayed over here where you have control. You're standing before the stove of life, and you're saying, give me some heat and I'll give you some wood. It doesn't work that way. Give it the wood. Feed that mind. Come into the Mind Body Mastermind and participate. Let's make December the most distinguished month of you that you've ever lived by getting so deep. Look at October's challenge. Look at November. Watch the 12-minute wrap up of Miyamoto, how he summarized what it is to be a lone wolf, and then get into Matt McConaughey's Green Lights and wrap up December with the first scroll, because it's a month-long project, the scrolls, but read The Greatest Salesman in the World and watch what happens to your life. I promise you, I guarantee it. So with that, I'm sorry I didn't allow a whole lot of time for us to open up the chat, but any ahas, anybody who's going to be distinguished in December? Who wants the most distinguished month of their entire life? This is the most distinguished month of my entire 70 years, folks. 70 Decembers. My 70th December is going to be my most distinguished. And what's happening for me in 2024 is going to be phenomenal. So if you want to do that, and thank you, Jill, text me, say, hey, I am distinguished. And not that you're going to be distinguished, I am distinguished. And let's really commit to making December that month. Okay. You've got my cell and you've got my commitment. You're going to get my calendar link and I'm here for you. Okay. So any comments, any ahas, any thing to add? Speak up. You're a mastermind. I need your mind. I gave you mine just now. I need a piece of yours.
Yeah, Fred, you said to get these books for friends and family. Should I be getting these books for me?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Give yourself the gift. Thank you. That's the first person you give them to. When you order Frank McKinney's book, Ted, you really should read TAP because you're missing all the taps that's happened in your life. How old are you, Ted?
62.
62. 62 is when I really had my major transformation in my life. When I mean, it was incredible. 62 years old, started to do inner child work and all that kind of stuff I had missed. I'd studied. I served with Dr. Dennis Waitley, who wrote The Psychology of Winning. He used to teach all the Olympic athletes. I knew personal development in and out. I built major successful offices, successful businesses. I did a $35 million. I can go on and on, all because of personal development. I understood it, but I still didn't understand me. Didn't understand me until I was 62 years old. And that was just the beginning. The last 8 years have been incredible. I've gone, wow. And understanding. I mean, look, many of you know, I spent 35 years in the Christian church, right? And, I was a theologian. I studied theology. I did. And as soon as I approached the people I'd hung out for 35 years, I said, we've got it wrong. Or we not that we don't have it wrong, but I think we've got some ideas that are hurting everybody. All because basically looking around at results. The divorce rate in the church wasn't any different than it was outside. Very little. And so I said, look, guys, let me show you what I'm finding and discovering here. That sorry, Jesus is not returning. It's a fallacy. And they called me a heretic. They called me a heretic. I said, okay, I'm not asking you to change your thinking. I'm just asking you to study this with me. Can we do this? They said, you can stay here, but do not open your mouth. No, we will not allow group meetings. I said, let me just call you then, the leaders, and let's us meet in a mastermind. Because I know there's something here that we missed in 35 years. I've been studying this stuff. Oh my gosh. They threw me out, literally. They threw me out by choice. I had to make a choice. I had to either shut up and be quiet and say I could stay. But if I wanted to speak up, I had to leave. Well, I wanted to speak up. And I've been speaking up ever since. That in that area of Christendom. And then also that's when I started studying the Quran. That's when I started having so many more Muslim friends. That's when my world opened up. That's when I realized the world was inclusive, that God is inclusive. He's not exclusive. That I started to go, oh my gosh, now what does this mean to my other parts of my life, right? So, but by the TAP, Frank McKinney's book, The TAP, you're going to feed 200 kids in Haiti. You're going to feed 200 meals in Haiti. And plus you're going to change your life with the book, The TAP, because you need that, Ted. You've been tapped so many times in 62 years, but you don't know how to hear it. You're not listening to it. That's all. And folks, I'm not criticizing Ted. He and I have a connection. I sense it. I feel it. And he's struggling. He's struggling. He admitted it. He's authentic. He's transparent. He's vulnerable. On our call a couple of weeks ago, he just said, hey, man, I ain't got it. I got to figure this out. But we're going to watch Ted. If he commits to December and he reads the TAP and he goes and reads Green Lights and he commits to the greatest salesman in the world, watch out. Watch what happens. Ted will not be the same man he is today 3, 4, 5 months from now. Now, listen, scroll number 1 teaches that here, listen to this. Time teaches all things to he who lives forever. Ted, listen to this. Time teaches all things to he who lives forever, but I have not the luxury of eternity. Yet within my allotted time, I must practice the art of patience, for nature acts never in haste. We try to go against nature. To create the olive king of all trees, 100 years is required. See, God sent us here as olive trees. But listen to this. An onion plant is old in 9 weeks. I have lived as an onion plant. This is scroll 1. I have lived as an onion plant. It has not pleased me. Now I would become the greatest of olive trees, and in truth, the greatest of salesmen. So we spend our lives wanting to be the onion plant. Oh, yeah, okay, give me a secret of success. I say it all the time on these masterminds. If I put out there, hey, secret to social media, I'll have 78 people show up. I put out there the secret to getting to know yourself, I have 20 people show up. We're looking for magic, and we're called to be an olive tree, but we're trying to, live a life of being an onion. When you read Matt McConaughey's book, it's crazy. When you read the fact, I probably shouldn't give it away because it was really a surprise to me. No, I got to. His mom and dad were married 3 times. My story is, I was married 40 years, divorced 7, went back for 2, didn't work, back now again. Long story. So I'm living with my first wife, my next wife, my last wife, or something like that. But his mom and dad, I couldn't forgive myself for a lot of things. But I listened to his story. His mom and dad divorced 3 times, married twice, of course. His father died. He got a call. His father died early one morning at 68, was it? Making love to his mother because they had been remarried again. And he had always said that's how he would die. So you're talking about creating. But when you get into that story, folks. So Ted, I'm really excited for you. Anybody else? Let's take a few extra minutes because I am so stoked about December being the most distinguished month of my entire 70 years. And I mean that. And what's going on in my soul, my head, my heart, my passion, So what? Anybody else?
Mr. Fay, good morning. How are you?
Hey, Jacopo!
How's it going on? Good?
Hey, here's a guy. You're not even 40 yet, right?
No, not yet. Not yet.
No, he could have. You're 39?
Yeah.
When's the big 40?
The 21 February.
When? February 21st?
February. Yeah.
Man, I got to mark that date down. I'm going to do to you what you did to me. Come and take you out for a birthday dinner. He came for my 70th birthday all the way from Miami. Took me to dinner. Yeah, Jacopo could have wrote the book, folks. Jacopo has done a lot of work in this area. But Jacopo, have you read The Greatest Salesman in the World?
No, I will love, and I want to share with you. Thank to share this information, because it's really powerful. Sometimes this kind of information, everybody we need, and we need people like you to share this kind of information. If the world have people like you to share this energy, to this information, I think so the world will be a better place, believe me, and thanks to this information for today, Fred.
Oh, you're welcome. And listen, I'm glad you said that, because let me tell you why. I have not, I first started, I remember when I first, I'm getting interrupted by, one second. My headphones are tied to my cell phone. It's ringing in my ear. I did my first seminar after, and I was a top salesman, from being a punk kid all the way to change, became a top salesman at 23 years old, 24 years old. And I remember I first put out my first seminar and people showed up and all, and I never forget afterwards, they were just everyone was raving, thank you. But then there was a few that started saying, oh, why does he get to be able to put that onto the company, this and that, and that. So I said, I'll back off. I'm just going to keep selling, doing my thing, right? But then I started sharing with some other people, and that was my heart, and that's how a lot of my stuff has developed over the years, is by giving. Because the more I give, the more any of us give, that's how much we get. So I was getting more back to me. as far as, hey, who am I? What am I? But then I started to go in and I wanted to make some change. I became a manager and I had to manage people 25 years my senior, right? They hated me because I had the number one successful office in 3 years. I outshined them. And so and you would think they all would love me. Hey, come and help me, come and help me. Well, when they made me regional vice president, when Coldwell Banker bought the company, they were so mad at the president of the company that they made this kid, 29 years old, their boss now, and they've been with the company 22 years. So you would think that they would welcome because I had the number one office my production was so far out there because I taught everyone this stuff is that you change yourself from the inside out. Well, it didn't happen. So what did I do? I softened my approach a little bit. Okay, let me back off a little bit. I'll just do my job, but I'll help them where they want it. But most of them rejected it. And their offices kind of stayed the same, and they were happy being an onion plant. And if things went down, they worked a little bit harder to get it up. Blah blah blah. So I backed up, and that's kind of been the story of my life because I never realized until I was 62 I was a master codependent and blah blah blah. But anyway, I backed off so many times, and I've been doing that in my life now. In EXP last 5 years, I did it with a partner a couple of my sponsors. I did it. Back off. I'll be a little bit quieter, and I adjusted who I was. He said, let me figure it out. Let me step back. Well, that's one of the reasons that the last 6-7 months of my life has been so radical, and especially why this distinguished December, my 70th December, I'm going to be spending. And the way that God keeps delivering these different things right at the right time to me. And I'm going, oh my gosh, God, I'm sorry. I've been backing off. I haven't been true to myself. And listen to Matt McConaughey. That's what he was. He wasn't true to himself. And when you read his road trips and stuff and the willingness to go live alone, talk about a lone wolf. He's a lone wolf in Hollywood for sure. So anyway, Jacopo, I'm glad you said that because one of the things I'm really working on, that's why I turned this one private. That's why I turned to our group private. Some of you know Jacopo and I have the Luxury and Wealth Group. Jacopo spent 6 months in Italy and 6 months here. I turned it private because I've got to get a lot more true to myself to help more of the agents and those of you on this call. So I'm going to ask you to forgive me ahead of time if sometimes I come across too dogmatic. But folks, I've got to rattle a whole lot more cages, even in my own family. I've got my daughter who was deceased at 38 back in 2014. My former son-in-law cut off the relationship with my two grandsons at the most critical time in their life, that they're teenagers. One just turned 18, one just turned 16. And a year and a half ago, actually a little bit more than that now, he cut off our relationship. And at the same time, I had some business partner issues, all this other kind of stuff. But again, I've been teaching you all for 3.5, 4 years that life doesn't happen to us, it happens for us. But a lot of that happened because I wasn't true to myself. I wouldn't speak my real truth that I wanted to really say many times. And so it got mixed up. Who is this guy? Anyway, so be true to yourself, find that north. Get into this distinguished December with me. Come and join my party. I'm asking you to join my party. You're going to have a blast. Number one. Number two, you will not be the same person you are today 6 months from the day. And my mentor told me that many, many years ago as a 23-year-old manager. He said, Fred, you will be the same person you are today 5 years from the day, except for two things: the people you meet and the books you read. And he understood the principle of the mastermind, Charlie Tremendous Jones. And that was one of the first books, Think and Grow Rich, I was exposed to. But again, we read it, and I wanted an onion plant. I wanted something to happen in 9 weeks. So you put them aside. Well, let me go to the next thing. Let me go to the next thing. And when I went back to The Greatest Salesman, I forgot so many of those principles. I said, oh my God, I've been spending 70 years looking for onion plants. And this is the first time I'm taking the scroll every day. I started mine about 4 days ago now and reading it exactly the way you're supposed to, the same scroll over and over again. Yesterday, I took a walk. I had my daughter's memorial is right down the street from my office. And I was busy, and I said, because you've got to do it right at noon or at your lunchtime meal or midday. And I said, well, I'm busy because it's about a 12-minute, 15-minute read. And no, you're taking a walk. What habit are you going to create? You're going to create the habit. You're going to let these other things dictate your time. You keep telling people to control their time. And I listened to my inner voice. I said, no, I'm walking. And I walked to my daughter's memorial as I was reading this. And I went there and I read it aloud. Wow, what an impactful time. And here I was ready to not be true to myself and be true to my habit that I had committed to with the scrolls. And so anyway, Jacopo, thank you. You're welcome. And you haven't seen anything yet. I'll just tell you that. So thank you for being here. Anybody else?
Thank you.
Anybody else? Olivia, are you in Distinguished December?
I'm in.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're in. Okay.
I'm
All
so
right.
excited. Thank you.
Did you send me a text?
Oh, do you want me to send you a text? Okay.
Whoever wants to have the most distinguished December of their life, send me a text. Don't think I know. I already knew it because she is. Oh my God, you're talking about. Oh, I can't wait for her potential to come through. And what it's been doing in the last year. So yeah, definitely. I'm so looking forward to working whoever it is, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Please get into Mind and Body Mastermind, commit to these things, and make this the most distinguished December of your entire life. Okay? Cool. All right. I know we all have appointments and things going on. So Miss Tiffany. Yes.
Sir, Lume is asking about the 10.
Oh,
about
I'm sorry. You know what? I didn't look at the chat. What was the question?
What's the book? Something about the 10.
The 10 Scrolls. It's the greatest salesman in the world. And then when you go to Mind Body Mastermind, it's the December project. When you scroll down here, I actually have a link to it. This is just a summary that we went through. In there are 10 scrolls, right? That you'll get in that book. And then it'll tell you how to practice them in the book. Okay. And these are the 10 scrolls here. And you'll take the first one, do it for the first 30 days. So this is going to take us 10 months, right? With the scrolls. So it's in here, the greatest salesman in the world. Does that answer the question you think, Annabelle? Anything else in the chat that I missed? And there's a link in here to the book. Annabelle, maybe you could put it again, The Greatest Salesman in the World. It's somewhere in here. Down here at the December challenge. Annabelle, do me a favor, find this and pin the December challenge. I don't know if I did. Did I? Oh yeah, I did. One second. If not now, when? No. Okay. Pin the December challenge so it's up at the top. It's under featured, folks. There's a link to Amazon, my link. You can use that one. Just go to Amazon. I don't care. The greatest salesman in the world is what it is. Okay. Anything else we missed, Annabelle, in there? Thank you. No, nothing. Okay, cool.
No, I think all good.
Oh, good. I'm glad you asked that, Lumi, because if you ask it, someone else was thinking of it and didn't speak up. Kathleen, thank you. You're in. Send it to me. Send me a text. Jill,
I sent you a text, Fred. I sent you a text.
Super. Okay, cool. All right, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I would not be going through my experiences that I'm going through without you all, and without George Philbeck, who started, the group that is a part of my EXP line, started the GPS group, and I know how many times he struggled thinking, why am I doing all this work? Why am I doing this? And because I stuck to it, these Wednesdays, it's just making me be true to myself. So you all, it's the mastermind. You are my master and I'm your master. Someone wrote me the other day, really nice and beautiful, and it was great. And they said, and I wrote them back the principle from the African principle that look it up, the African principle. I am because you are. I am because you are. And I'm going to end with that. The African principle. Annabelle, do me a favor, look up the African principle and put it in Mind, Body, Mastermind. I am because you are. Actually, I'll hear I am. I'm going to do that. I am because, really interesting history on that. I am because you are. So I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I am because you are. Thank you for your mind and being a part of this mastermind. Okay? Thank you. Go ahead, Tiff. Take it away.